Good evening all. Today on 31st of May, we are celebrating World No Tobacco Day. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you to this online panel discussion on We Need Food, Not Tobacco. It's my honor to have such an esteemed gathering of experts who are passionate about creating a healthier future for South Asia region. Today, we are privileged to be in the presence of our esteemed chair, Dr. Zainab. Dr. Zainab is from Pakistan. She has been instrumental in the growth and success of Spice Route in the South Asia region. A warm welcome to Dr. Zainab. We also have other South Asia Council members. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome each one of them. I also extend heartfelt welcome to all members of Spice Route Council, members of WONCA, and other esteemed family physicians from South Asia region. Today, we gather with a shared purpose to raise awareness about the importance of health, nutrition, and the need to combat tobacco use in South Asia. Through this panel discussion, we aim to ignite conversations, share knowledge, and inspire actions that will contribute to building a healthier, tobacco-free world. I encourage each one of you to actively participate. Together, we can strive for a positive change and make an impact on the health and well-being of our community. Once again, warm welcome to all of you to this panel discussion. Now let me invite Dr. Vishnu, who is the National PG Coordinator of Spice Route India Movement, to moderate this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saren. So, a very good evening to all the participants who have joined for this panel discussion. As you all know, WHO has been celebrating May 31st as World No Tobacco Day. And the sole purpose of this is to reduce the tobacco consumption and to make the public aware about the devastating health effects that can result as a part of tobacco use. And this year, the theme for 2023 is We Need Food, Not Tobacco. And by this 2023 campaign, what is intended is to encourage the tobacco growers to produce the nutrient-dense sustainable crops as an alternative option or an alternative crop production. And thereby, we can curtail the use of tobacco as well as, to a greater extent, control the food prices in the world. So we as primary care physicians, family physicians, we being the first point contact for the patients, and we who can reach out to the public as well as the patients and the family, we can play a great role in this matter and to propagate a tobacco-free world. And to take you through this discussion, myself, Dr. Vishnu, and I have with me five eminent panelists today. I would like to welcome my panelists. My first panelist is Dr. Gunjan. She is a consultant family physician at Max Hospital, Vaishali and Pursuit Health Clinic, Ghaziabad, who is the National Treasurer and FM 360 Coordinator of Spice Route India Movement, and young Dr. Lee of WONCA Working Party Movement. Welcome, Dr. Gunjan, to this meeting.
Thank you.
Our next panelist is Dr. Sharmeen. She's a specialist family physician, patient safety coordinator, and chair of ethics committee at Indus Hospital, Lahore, Pakistan. Welcome, Dr. Sharmeen.
Thank you.
I'd also like to welcome my next panelist, Dr. Shane Halpe. He is a registrar in family medicine, MCGP trainee at College of General Practitioners of Sri Lanka, and national committee member of Spice Route Sri Lanka. Welcome, Dr. Shane.
Hello, thank you.
Our fourth panelist is Dr. Nikhil Kumar Patnaik. He is a preventive health check physician and clinical safety officer at Apollo Hospital, Visakhapatnam. Welcome, Dr. Nikhil.
Hi.
And our final panelist, the youngest among the lot, is Dr. Rahima Ali Ibrahim. She is a family medicine resident at Blues Hospital Postgraduate Institute of Medical Science and Research at Kerala, India. Welcome, Dr. Rahima.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening to all.
I would like to take you on through this discussion. First question, I would like to pose to Dr. Rahima. So how do you think the tobacco use impact nutrition and overall health? And what are the specific challenges associated with promoting healthy eating habits among the tobacco users? How do you think we can move about it?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. So speaking about tobacco use affects every organ and organ system in the body, and it is harmful for the overall health of an individual as such. It affects not only the physical fitness, but also the mental health of an individual. Now, before we discuss the harmful effects of tobacco use, let's see what are the contents of tobacco. As we all know, tobacco smoke contains a variety of chemicals, most of which are carcinogenic. So we have carbon monoxide, which is the same gas that is being emitted by car exhaust. Then, of course, nicotine, which is the addictive drug in tobacco. Then we have hydrogen peroxide, ammonia, which are the same chemicals that we may see in pesticides too. There are even radioactive substances like polonium, and there are various polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and there are tobacco-specific nitrosamines and all contained in tobacco. So coming to the effect of tobacco use on the overall health of an individual, most importantly, the respiratory system. As we all know, tobacco use can lead to COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. It can increase the risk of tuberculosis. It can increase the risk of other bacterial and viral infections, and also smoking acts as a trigger for asthma attacks. Coming to the cardiovascular system, since smoking speeds up atherosclerosis, there is an increased risk of CAD, coronary artery disease, stroke, and peripheral vascular diseases in smokers. The overall immunity of the smokers is weakened, and hence they are more susceptible to infections. Another thing about the increased risk of cancers, ranging from oral cancer to lung cancer, the small cell lung carcinoma that is specific to smokers. Then we have the more common adenocarcinoma, mesothelioma that can be triggered by asbestos exposure. Then also it can increase the risk of CA bladder, CA stomach, hepatocellular carcinoma, renal cell carcinoma. Then we have the reproduction. Smoking can cause infertility in both males and females, and smoking during pregnancy can lead to stillbirth, low birth weight babies, miscarriages, and even congenital malformation in the fetus. And also smokers are more at risk of developing type 2 diabetes mellitus. Also, tobacco use can affect the skin by causing premature aging and wrinkling. It can cause poor wound healing, and it can affect the oral cavity in the eye, the gums as such. There is a teeth, and also the eyes. There is an increased risk of blindness due to early macular degeneration. So, but having said this, also the mental health, of course, tobacco use can lead to addiction, anxiety, stress, and depression. Having said this, both active and passive smokers are equally affected by tobacco use. Now, the impact of tobacco use on nutrition. So as already said, tobacco contains various chemicals, and many of these are capable of producing free radicals. And these free radicals can cause lipid peroxidation. That is, there will be free radical injury and cause cell injury. The level of antioxidants in our body, there is vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, selenium, are all found to be lowered in the plasma of smokers. Another thing, the chronic exposure to tobacco smoke makes the food less palatable. There is loss of taste sensation. And this is because there is decrease in taste buds, xerostomia, that is decreased salivation can contribute to this. And also the recurrent respiratory infections that smokers have, that also contributes. Another thing, the nutritional status of smoker is even more compromised by their unhealthy diet. So studies have shown that smokers are more prone to consume more of fast food and white meat and less of fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. And also overall, there is a decreased absorption of the essential minerals and vitamins from our body. Hence, we can see a deficiency of these vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, as already said, in smokers. Hence, nutritional counseling should be focused on these areas. And another thing is that the smokers, they are less motivated and they lack the self-confidence than non-smokers. Hence, it is going to be a little more challenging to adopt the diet for these individuals. So first of all, we have to educate them on the benefits of a healthy diet in helping them with smoking and also decrease the risk factors associated with it, and also take some dietary interventions. That is more of a plant-based diet, because that will help in overcoming the ill effects of smoking. And also dairy products consumption is also found to be helpful. So,
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Rahima, she has very well mentioned about the components of what is there in tobacco, as well as what are the impacts that can result as a part of tobacco use and how nutrition can help. Now, I would like to come to Dr. Sharmeen. Dr. Sharmeen, to curtail this issue, we have to address right from childhood days. And what do you think what roles can schools and educational institutions play in promoting the healthy eating habits and educating the students about the dangers of tobacco use? Dr.
Thank
Sharmeen.
you, Dr. Vishnu, for this question, and good evening to everyone on this forum today. So when we talk about our schools and educational institutes, I would like to give a little background data on this. If we just look at the stats, and if I just speak about Pakistan for now, tobacco use in our children less than 15 years is 13.3% of boys and 6.6% of girls are actually using tobacco products of any type. And cigarette smoking is 4.8% of boys and 0.9% of girls. And this is according to the WHO Global Youth Tobacco Survey, which they conducted with the CDC in 2013. 6 in 10 current smokers in children show signs of smoking dependence, and 21% of students are exposed to tobacco smoke at home. Now, these are big numbers. And if we talk about the accessibility and availability of tobacco products to these children, it is available from local stores, pharmacies, school canteens, vendors. All of this is available. We have types. The different types that we're using here are vapes, e-cigarettes, and cigarettes, and the most common, there's a water pipes, also known as shisha. Vaping has become very common in the youth when we talk about it. If I speak about my own locality, we have a vaping store at every second corner. What can be the causes? Children, poverty is one of them, obviously. Then it is peer pressure. We need to focus on this also. The peer pressure, the pressures of being part of a certain society, of being part of a certain social class, and then stressors to achieve better. When we talk about education, it's a very competitive world right now. So parents and even educational institutes are putting pressures on those children, and it is an easy access for them to move towards any of the vices like alcohol or tobacco. Alcohol is another completely different subject. So when we talk about educational institutes now and schools, they have a big role to play in this. Why? Because that schools are the place, educational institutes are the place where children make their base, where their values are made, where they get to understand right from wrong. We need, yes, governments have their own policies, but I would personally say that educational institutes need to make their own policies where they need to make talking about a healthy, nutritious diet and talking about the effects of tobacco part of either the curriculum or either scheduled sessions, routine sessions, which the teachers should be able to give. And then obviously we need teachers to be trained for this purpose. They need to be trained to speak about a nutritious diet. They need to be trained to be able to speak about the adverse effects of tobacco usage. They can hold debates or seminars to talk about this. Educational material can be circulated in the form about students. I say that families need to be involved. Parents need to be involved. You see, the data that I just told you, 21% of the students are exposed to secondhand smoke in Pakistan only. Okay, so parents need to be involved, because what is the point of teaching them in schools and educational institutes if they're getting access to secondhand smoke at homes, and parents are not able to guide them, or they have the knowledge themselves to not to use these substances at home. So we have, for example, we have certain organizations here like Voices Against Tobacco, who are working with marginalized communities, where they are not only educating or empowering students or children, but also the families. They're speaking that to them, they're educating them regarding the adverse effects of tobacco. So that is a priority, speaking not to just children, but I say to parents also, to talk about the nutritious effects and as well as the effects of tobacco. We have, like, for example, we have a food authority, Pakistan Food Authority. So Pakistan Food Authority, if educational institutes are proactive, they can avail and use the opportunities provided by these organizations. Like we have Voices Against Tobacco, you have other organizations. You may have another food authority at your place, like we have Pakistan Food Authority, where they are proactively working on healthy eating habits. They are going to schools and colleges, and they're holding debates, seminars, poster competitions, and they're using their local nutritionists and healthcare workers to go to these schools to talk about the effects of tobacco, and also the nutritionists will be educating the families regarding the nutritionists, what can be a nutritious diet. And they're also getting the nutritionists to make a healthy, affordable meal plan, because we are a developing country. We may not have resources. Our community may not be able to afford a lot of food items, but with the help of these nutritionists and the food authorities, we can make a healthy, affordable meal plan for them. Secondly, lastly, since I was talking about the cause, the stresses of the children face, according to the same survey, 59.8% of the children feel confident when they're going to social gatherings by using cigarettes of any sort. 56% of these are boys, and 65.5% of these are girls. When I talk about social pressures, and I talk about this at every forum, it is important for educational institutes to be responsible and also have counselors and therapists. You see, children are finding it an easy way out and escape to go towards these tobacco, alcohol, any of these vices. So we need those therapists to counsel and help children so that they are not able to go towards that way. So these are one of the few ideas that I thought of.
Yeah, that the statistics that have been put out here clearly shows the importance why we need to intervene right from early days to curtail these issues. Thank you, Dr. Sharmeen. Now I just to pose a question to Dr. Shane. What are the strategies or interventions that have been successful in promoting nutrition and healthy lifestyle as a part of tobacco cessation programs? Dr. Shane.
Thank you, Dr. Vishnu, for that question. And before that, I must thank Dr. Rahima and Dr. Sharmeen for painting a vivid picture on the effects of smoking and what can be done. So regarding the strategies which are available, which have shown some evidence and interventions which are helpful in promoting lifestyle and nutrition as part of the smoking cessation, one thing is establishing smoke-free policies, or rather smoke-free zones in wherever the locality the general practitioner is working. So that has been found to be a good strategy as well, which is currently implemented in Sri Lanka. Also, I also suggest price increases of cigarettes or tobacco would also discourage this smoking habit, and as well as health education campaigns will be helpful, and the combined use of counseling as well as counseling and nicotine replacement therapy has shown good evidence that as a strategy to smoking cessation. And interestingly, sending short SMSs on tobacco cessation has been found to be successful, as well as use of web and internet programs which are interactive in promoting behavioral change is also another strategy we can use, as well as certain life events which occur. For example, surgical procedures, hospitalization, sudden illness, and even malignancies like lung cancer is a trigger for smoking cessation. So such events can be made use of to promote this healthy behavior of stopping smoking. And as general practitioners, we should promote, or rather use this method of the 5A method: assess, advise, agree, assist, and arrange. So assess means assess the patient properly, and also record the smoking habit regularly whenever they come to our clinics. And it's a good strategy to review the patient much more regularly, maybe once a week or once in 2 weeks. And as well as we have to advise the patient in a non-judgmental manner, and also agree to a goal, to a set date in smoking cessation, and assist the patient with nicotine replacement therapy, and also to arrange follow-up. More than anything, actually, I want to share a personal experience today, which is my mother who did that. At the parking lot, I happened to tell my mother that today is a no tobacco day, and no one should be smoking. And then we happened to see two gentlemen in the parking lot who are smoking. But more before anyone else, my mother went and spoke to these two complete strangers. Did you know that today is no tobacco day? Didn't you know that you shouldn't smoke? So I was like telling my mother, stop, you don't know these people. Why are you going and telling this? But she did that. And they acknowledged, the advice of a non-medical person, which also gave me a big lesson. Do we talk about, stopping smoking? And it showed that as medical professionals, also sometimes we are afraid and we don't talk about it much. And we should be examples and advocates. And even if we meet a stranger in the bus stop, parking lot, or maybe in the shopping mall, if we see someone smoking, I suppose we should advise. We have the authority to advise that that you should stop smoking. And so this is what I want to share today with you.
Thank you, Dr. Sharmeen, for briefing about the strategies that we can move out, and more importantly, mentioning about your life experience. That will be very helpful, and that shows the importance how we need to address the issue. We need to communicate with the patients and sort out this problem. With this, I would like to pose the next question to Dr. Gunjan. Gunjan, are there any specific dietary recommendations or strategies that can help the individuals to quit smoking and to overcome withdrawal symptoms? How can they effectively handle this problem? Is there any dietary recommendations? Can you please address that?
Yes, see, what happens is the kind of diet we have to advise anybody. It's not for one who is trying to quit smoking. Has to be extremely customized, because one size doesn't fit everybody else. When we are trying to quit smoking or just withdrawal symptoms have to be focused upon, we have to see that the nicotine withdrawal is impacting the patient most around third to fifth day. So we have to provide a nicotine patch, which is usually showing good results. For 12 weeks, once we provide the nicotine patch, the withdrawal symptoms will not hit him much. Meanwhile, we should be focusing upon good amount of fluids, milk products, protein-rich, fiber-rich diet as a default. We can advise everybody. And for patients with some other comorbidities or some findings, like because of being a chronic smoker, if they have developed bronchitis or have heart issues, any other disease is active in them, then the customization will be different. And the symptoms of withdrawal have to be supported by the family. If they have a family doctor, if they have a group which is trying to quit together, then these recommendations help more. And the support system depends more upon how his willpower is being strengthened. And the dietary recommendations have to be entirely focusing upon the washout of nicotine from the system. So the first 3 months when he is trying to quit, he should be taking more fruits, more fluid, more milk product. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. I do have a certain role to play, come in this situation. Dr. Nikhil, I'll just ask you a question. The marketing strategies that have been implemented by various tobacco industry is a very important thing we need to address, because they do their promotion in various ways. And how can we address the marketing tactics that is being used by the tobacco industry and promote the healthier alternatives, such as to nutritious foods and beverages? How can we come up with this strategy?
So indeed, the tobacco industry is one of the biggest spenders in the ad world across the globe. And one of the major steps that we have taken till now, addressing the marketing tactics by this tobacco industry, is the adoption of WHO FCTC treaty. In 2005, it has been ratified by almost all the nations across the globe. But of the handful who have not ratified, USA being most notable among them, which shows us how powerful the tobacco industry is with its lobbying. Now, India has a COTPA Act, Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Products Act of 2003, which bans all advertisement except for point of sale and on-pack advertisements. And even on these, we have size restrictions and statutory warnings that have been placed. Now, how has the tobacco industry circumvented this? So what they do is they have taken up a surrogate advertisement. So the pan masala advertisements or the flavored elaichi ads that we see on our screens with the most sought after actors advertising for them. And then what they have done is they have associated in these ads, if you notice, tobacco is the surrogate ads. They have associated it with a richness. So the actors or the characters in these ads, they drive swanky cars, beautiful mansions in the backdrops of mountains, and they talk about success being synonymous with taking risks. So all this is a strategy to lure the young. Now again, brand sharing that goes beyond this surrogate advertisement. So you have seen these brands take up clothing lines as their advertising strategy. So there's a lot of brand sharing that happens to target this group, the young group, and sponsoring teams, cricket teams, motorsport teams, and award shows, especially these bravery awards or the cinema, the movie award shows. So again, the youth is the target of all these ads, and they know how to reach out to them, even though there is this strong, so-called strong COTPA Act or the FCTC treaty. Another intelligent strategy that they have been using is they are playing the victim card. I don't know if how many of you have noticed images of these poor farmers splashed on the billboards and saying that save our livelihood, protect our livelihood. And so what they do is this tobacco industries, they're fronting the tobacco farmers and shopkeepers associations and playing this game of victim card. And one more interesting strategy, as advertisement is only possible at the point of sale, if you see these shops, so there's one big billboard, of course, that also has size restrictions. But what does not have any restrictions is how many number of packet of cigarettes you can put on display. So you see the entire display is covered with cigarette packets. So very prominent display. So anyone who passes by the cigarette shops or goes there to have anything else is cannot fail to notice the cigarette boxes on the display. So the addressing these challenges, how to do it, I think the policymakers have to take the lead, and they have to go beyond the COTPA Act and include a blanket ban. So you have to include surrogate advertisement and the point of sale advertisements also in this ban. Cigarette packets cannot be on display even at the shops which sell these. And big actors and political leaders and organizations who are playing such a huge role in the society, they should be dissuaded from promoting these tobacco advertisements in the garb of CSR activities or other surrogate advertisements. The target groups are definitely, as I said, the young adults who are going to their, the adolescents who are going to their secondary schools or the colleges. So they need to be educated on a continuous basis and should be provided easy access to counseling for quitting at their study centers itself. Also, there is a present ban on sale of tobacco items in the 100 yards around such premises, but it is not being strictly followed, maybe due to corruption or somehow the laws have not been so strictly followed regarding tobacco sale in and around educational premises. So following the present policies that have already been formulated is also very important. Now, another point in this regard would be sale of individual cigarette sticks. So the students and the very young people who are just earning their livelihood, they probably cannot afford buying an entire cigarette packet. But because sale of individual cigarette packets, individual cigarette sticks is happening, so it gives them an easy access. So if this is banned, sale of individual cigarette sticks, then it will again go a long way in ensuring that these tobacco the tactics fail. And farmer associations, they should be taken on board, and they should be supported to switch to growing alternate crops. The subsidies that, in fact, right now the government spends a lot of subsidies to the tobacco industry, but these subsidies should instead be linked to switching to growing alternate crops rather than tobacco. So lastly, I think of all these, the most important would be the role of family and friends, where they continuously reiterate the evils of tobacco. Don't start, be smart. So that adage is, I have personally felt, people who have resisted the initial, the initial lure to the cigarettes, they will probably never get into it. So I think friends and families should understand the role in nurturing the young adolescents and reiterating the evils of tobacco, and so as others also. So if at a family level, the choice should be made to live a healthy and enriching lifestyle.
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil. Whatever you have said, it stresses the importance on how policy making can make a change and what is the importance of addressing this marketing strategies through very stringent policies that should come up from the government initiatives as well as from our doctor's side also. Coming back to Dr. Rahima, as I mentioned in my introduction, we as family medicine specialists have a very important role, as we may be the first point contact, or we have a direct contact with them or families. I just want to ask you, how can a health professional incorporate nutrition counseling and support into tobacco cessation interventions so that can enhance a person to quit tobacco use successfully? How can we know about it, Dr. Rahima?
Okay, thank you, sir. So coming to tobacco cessation, as Dr. Shane sir has already said, when it comes to the interventions for tobacco cessation, let's not forget the 5 A's of asking the patient about tobacco use, advising the patient to quit, assessing readiness to quit, assisting in quitting, and arranging for follow-up. Clearly, the most important thing that smoker can do to improve and protect their health is to quit smoking. But it is easier said than done. So to improve the health of smokers, we should not focus just on tobacco cessation, but we should also try to bring about health, lifestyle changes. And here, this includes a healthy diet too. Because, but the problem here that healthcare professionals are going to face is the lack of self-motivation and lack of self-confidence that these individuals have compared to non-smokers. And it was seen that studies have shown that the eating healthy was less of a life goal or a valuable behavior for smokers. Now, this is not surprising because they have already adapted to an unhealthy behavior, that is smoking. So dietary interventions should take into account these considerations. And so they should be first educated. They should be lifestyle changes, which includes eating healthy. So a healthy diet is going to help them help reduce the risk of diseases associated with smoking. And not only this, it is going to decrease the, help them overcome the nicotine craving and hence consequently help in smoking cessation. So, and as we already said, the more the person smokes, the more nicotine consumed and more depletion of the essential nutrients. So we have to try to supplement these nutrients and replenish the stores. So the points to remember when counseling regarding nutrition to tobacco user or smoker is, first of all, nicotine is an appetite suppressor. So when a person tries to quit smoking or he decreases the number of tobacco used, there is a temptation to overeat. So instead of eating the traditional large meals, skip to several small meals a day. Another thing, include more fruits and vegetables in the diet and decrease the meat products and non-veg, because a plant-based diet is going to help in decreasing most of the health effects that is caused due to smoking. And as already said, there will be repletion of the essential minerals and vitamins like vitamin C. So these can be vitamin C rich food should be encouraged, like dark green leaf vegetables, citrus fruits must be encouraged. Then hydration. Hydration is important because it helps to wash away the toxins. Not only that, it helps in overcoming the appetite. Another interesting thing is the consumption of milk and dairy products. Smokers have told that there is a change in the taste of a cigarette after consumption of milk. So even that may help. Another thing, to decrease whenever there is craving, to keep the mouth busy, they can chew sugar-free gums. That could be another method. Then we can have exercise, of course, that addresses the nicotine craving. Another thing is the depression that can be caused while trying to quit smoking or associated with tobacco cessation. That can be overcome by taking a serotonin-rich food. So we can take food which is rich in vitamin B and tryptophan. Dark chocolates can serve the purpose, also poultry and nuts can do. So that is about the dietary interventions and such. But to conclude, smoking is a costly habit, whichever way you look at it. Not only does it hit your pocket, but it takes about your health goes around you.
Thank you, Dr. Rahima, on addressing the importance how we can, as doctors, can intervene in this issue. Coming back to Dr. Sharmeen. Dr. Sharmeen, how can the individuals or families and communities be empowered to make informed choices regarding nutrition and tobacco use? And what are the resources or the tools that we have in our armamentarium to support them?
Thank you, Vishnu, for the question. So I'll come back starting with the stats first. According to, again, the WHO Global Adult Tobacco Survey of 2014, if we look at the adults, 24 million adults in Pakistan are currently using tobacco in any form, out of which 5.8% are women and 31.8% are men. 7 in 10 adults are exposed to tobacco smoke at the workplace and 5 in 10 adults at home. Now, these are huge numbers, okay? So if we look at the health consequences, 163,000 plus people die each year due to tobacco usage in Pakistan and almost 31,000 due to secondhand smoke. Our morbidity and mortality from tobacco use is amongst top 15 in the world. And the 25% which have tried to quit per year, less than 3% have been successful, which is disappointing. So if you look at it like this, yes, fortunately or unfortunately, Pakistan is the 8th largest producer of tobacco here. It is a source of revenue, employment, and foreign exchange for us. We export tobacco leaf and also use it internally. But when we look at it, In 2019, the economic cost of smoking was about 5 times greater than the revenue from the tobacco industry. And in Pakistan, tobacco consuming households spend an average of 2.7% of the monthly budget on tobacco. And poor households are spending 3% on the budget, which is more than they spend on education, which is 1.8%. This is disappointing. So when we talk about empowerment, we have to speak about empowerment of communities. We have to speak about the government and the policies. So Pakistan, like Dr. Nikhil has mentioned, in India, we have 2-3 legislations which mentions the banning of advertisement of tobaccos, selling to minors, sale near the educational institutes, one of the few, smoking in public service vehicles, for example, smoking in public places. This is part of the legislation. Secondly, the warnings on the cigarette packets. According to the legislation, the warning signs should be bigger in size as compared to before, should be visible to the person picking up the cigarette packing. We have these legislations, but again, like Dr. Nikhil said, there are lots of obstacles. In Pakistan, we have not been able to endorse all of this. Yes, our government has been successful in achieving, for example, we are party to the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control since 2005. Our International Union Against TB and Lung Disease in 2008 worked with our Ministry of Health to establish a government tobacco control cell. And the achievements due to the legislations are, again, like Dr. Nikhil said, that we are not allowed, tobacco industry has been stopped from using electronic media, and newspapers and magazines have been banned from using tobacco advertisements, and also billboards. So yes, these are our minor achievements. It is small in size, but we have obstacles. And where I feel when we talk about the empowerment of communities, we need the help of the government. We need stronger legislations when we talk about controlling the use of tobacco. So coming to the community, we need to empower our local leaders, community leaders, which includes our MNAs, our MPAs, our senators, our clerics, local leaders of the community. You see, we have to start from the top. So when we educate them, when the government enforces laws on them, my suggestion, they should then choose people from the regular households. They should be made focal person, because it is going to be a trickle-down effect. So these people from the households, fathers or mothers, and as I answered in the last question, we need families involved in this. This cannot be done by individuals or one organization. We need all stakeholders involved in this. So if you use people from the households, you educate them, you empower them, you train them, they pass on that awareness to their families, to their communities, to their schools, to the workplaces. We use, for example, we have local health workers who go door to door for vaccinations. They can be used for this purpose. The local community area hospitals can be used. Their healthcare workers can be used to come and create awareness amongst the community, along with nutritionists. We're talking about tobacco, but we need the help of nutritionists to counsel and guide the community and the people, whether children or adults, what is a healthy nutritious diet. Again, educational material, whether in the form of text or videos. And here I would like to say, since we're talking about the youth and how youth is coming into this, we need to use the social media. We know all youth is using social media. So we need to, the YouTubers, the vloggers, the morning show hosts. And I see this in a lot of places, that they have a huge impact, because our audience, whether we say lower class, high class, whichever class, social status we talk about, the children and the mothers are a huge audience to these shows, whether television or radio. So if we have responsible citizens and responsible people hosting these shows, these YouTubers are responsible and they're enforced to talk about the effects of tobacco and a nutritious or healthy diet, I think it's going to have a huge impact on our youth. Because yes, adults are already there. We cannot revert them back, but we can help our youth at least to improve their situations, to restrict them from going towards this. So lastly, I would say we have challenges in Pakistan. We have gaps and challenges. We do not have smoking cessation clinics. They're limited, and people, again, not aware.
that shows the importance of policy making, and even the legislative part has to play a very crucial role, as well as the families and the community. Now, Dr. Shane, coming back to Dr. Shane, can you briefly address how, as Dr. Hima has already said, this tobacco use is a costly habit. So how we can ensure that the vulnerable populations, such as the low-income communities or the marginalized groups, have access to both nutritious food support as well as the tobacco cessation support, which we need to address. Dr. Shane.
Thank you, Dr. Vishnu, for that question. So, so basically going with the theme, no tobacco, I mean, grow food, not tobacco. I would also add, we should grow the awareness, as well as we should be advocates, continuing from where I left. So, and also as general practitioners, we are all gatekeepers to the health of our nations. And it is our responsibility. We have a great responsibility in promoting, smoking-free nation. And one place where we can start is primary care health promotion. We should promote in a national level, in government level, that the importance of the primary care in smoking cessation. And also, like Dr. Nikhil explained, we should get involved, famous personalities, celebrities, and influence the policymakers to bring out the change in smoking cessation, where especially thereby low-income communities and the marginalized groups, we will be able to help. Where this any intervention requires finance, so we have to raise the awareness. So the policymakers, businessmen, and the finance will be pumped towards this intervention. Similarly, we can establish our locally community engagement groups. Or for example, in Sri Lanka, we have hospital committees. So we can get involved, get the local leaders involved, so that we will be able to ensure that the low-income communities will be taken care of, and also a supply of nutritious foods, as well as smoking support, cessation support clinics can be started, because everything should be started from the primary care level or at the grassroots level. So thereby we can little by little reach to the secondary and the tertiary level. And most of all, our health, like health policies and health intervention should be first targeted towards the poorest of the poor. From there only we should begin, because if our policies, our interventions, our procedures, our treatment is only targeted towards the hierarchy of the society, we will not be able to achieve the desired results, which is a tobacco-free nation. And we have to consider the cost-effective. We should especially emphasize the financial and the economical benefit of tobacco-free nation. And and also, as primary care physicians, it is imperative that we understand a multidisciplinary team approach to this issue. So that means basically involvement of the psychiatrists, psychologists, local leaders, politicians, whoever can help to influence, to ensure that vulnerable population will have the access to whatever they need in stopping to stop this habit. So let me sign off with that. Aiboan.
Thank you, Dr. Sheen. Again, policy making is again a crucial role. And saying that, I just want a very quick answer from Dr. Nikhil. Dr. Nikhil, what are the potential collaborations between the field of nutrition, public health, and tobacco control in promoting a healthier society? The theme being, we need food and not tobacco. So how can you just answer this question in 2 minutes?
Yeah, the policymakers are, in fact, it's they have recognized one thing, that in this growing world of global liberalization and food and beverage industry wanting a place in discussing the issues of health, especially the NCDs that are growing on. One thing that the policymakers are sure on is tobacco industry cannot be made a stakeholder while formulating these policies. So the collaborations are instead to be focused with those who cater to the most vulnerable sections, the victims and the farmers growing the tobacco. So one primary example that comes to our mind is the education sector, where collaboration should be made with the schools and colleges. Widespread anti-smoking campaign should be started at these educational institutes, and they should be timely reinforced so that the messages don't get lost with time. And another example is capacity building and training of the front care health workers and the school-based counselors, where they receive specific training not only on delivering effective interventions and promoting healthy lifestyle, but also provide support to those who are looking to quit tobacco use. Coordinated interventions and services should be adopted, like tobacco cessation programs can include nutritional counseling as well, and resources to address weight management concerns. Again, another important role is of the Agriculture Department and the Ministry of Labor, where educating the tobacco farmers and the workers of the tobacco industry, like the BD rollers, about the alternative crops or the alternative jobs that they can seek. The skill development is very important, so that when there's a shift, they don't feel lost. Now, growing tobacco is not very beneficial because one, it requires a lot of insecticides, fertilizers, and the soil loses its fertility. This is a seasonal crop, so the next cycle you can't grow much of anything else. So the farmers, if they're educated about this, then definitely there will be a shift to more nutritious crops and more profitable for them also. So I think lastly, I would say collaboration with the mass media and the community leaders, so that maximum results are yielded to promote healthier and tobacco-free society.
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil. As a continuation of what Dr. Nikhil has said, Dr. Gunjan, any other policies or initiatives that we can implement at community and society level to create an environment that prioritize food security, nutrition, and a tobacco-free living? Can you just add on to what Dr. Nikhil has said?
Yes, see, when we talk about requesting farmers to shift from tobacco, we have to understand the massive numbers involved into this. I mean, the previous article I read was published in 2007. We have around 6 million farmers, 20 million laborers involved into this industry. Just the BD rollers number is like 2.2 million. So these many families, when they are affected, we have to go step one. The answer is supposed to be extremely complex. And when we discuss that we have to shift to some other crops, we have to give substantial proof to them and security. Now there are a lot of policies on government level, some in the planning process, some have already been executed. So we have to join hands with NGOs, the local leaders, to first of all counsel them that the crop they are growing for tobacco leads to soil erosion, deforestation, just like Nikhil was saying right now, that in the next season, any other crop is difficult to grow because the soil is depleted of its nutrition. So once they understand that with similar investment, they can have some other crops as well. For example, soybean or sugarcane or onion or maize, and these kind of things they can sell every season, and therefore it will be more beneficial for them. So first explaining to them that the soil is not going to be good enough. The second point which we can counsel them is there are a lot of policies available already, like awareness for Kisan credit cards. There is one more thing which we can counsel patients and counsel the farmers is about a self-help group where 15 to 20 farmers make a new idea, which has been seen with the Amul product. It has benefited lots of villages. So once they come up with a different idea, mass shifting from their usual tobacco farming can be done. On an individual level, it will always be difficult for them. So as a society, that can be done. Every village can pick up this purpose and gradually shift it. The shifting can be planned in a 10-year project. The first 2 years can be dedicated for research, like agricultural university should focus 2 years project upon how the shifting can be done, and all the farmers should be given 10 years time where they go stepwise. Whatever land they have, they can divide it into two parts, one half for tobacco, another half for their other crops. As they see profit coming from other part, they'll gradually shift. So sudden shifting will be difficult for them. This is one of the policies which can be executed. And we have tobacco boards which formulate all the things connected with tobacco. We can have a board for alternate crops also. That will streamline all the policies we have been talking about. So these are few of the things which we can discuss. And right now, the pesticide usage which I was discussing, all these things add another cost burden on the farmers. And they're trying to cut down the cost. They go for very cheap quality pesticides. So in the longer run, another health hazard gets added to the farmers, the soil, and entire future thing. So counseling through NGOs, support through local groups, and execution of already existing plans. These are the three important policies which will help in shifting the tobacco farming to more nutritious products and general health of everybody involved.
So thank you, Dr. Gunjan, for addressing this, how we can move about making an alternative options to tobacco for a sustainable world. So I just want to take up one question that has come up from the floor. Can anyone guide on once a person quits smoking and with the passage of time there's an urge and the person is on the verge of starting again? How can we manage this problem? Can any of the panelists take up this question? Does anyone want to take up this question? Dr. Nikki, would you like to address this question? A person who has stopped wants to start again. How can we go about with it?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
I think CBT is the way to go. Person should be felt, he should not be scared of discussing his ideas. So he should be in an environment which is, accepting of his, the possibility of relapse should be entertained and they should be openly discussed with the person. And cognitive behavioral therapy is something that is best, along with the use of all these nicotine patches or the other medications that we have. Cognitive behavioral therapy will go a long way in ensuring that person sticks to his goal of leaving tobacco.
Thank you, Doctor, for addressing the issue. So I hope for the 1 hour we had a wonderful discussion. We had 5 panelists speaking on what are the ill effects, what are the lifestyle interventions, and how an alternative solution that we need to grow food and not tobacco, and how policies can be implemented to bring out these changes in our community. And this has been addressed to various extent by the different panelists, and I hope it was an enlightenment for the participants who have joined for this meeting. I would like to thank Dr. Saren and the entire team of Spice Group for having these opportunities. And I would like to thank the panelists for coming with such a wonderful discussion. Over to Dr. Saren. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu. So we had a really productive panel discussion. Thank you all panelists for being very active, and thank you for your dedication for doing this very detailed research on this particular subject. The member who attended this thing will get benefited, and this will contribute to to our effort to build a tobacco-free community. Thank you all. Hopefully we can meet sooner for such similar events. Thank you once again. Good night.